When the lights suddenly go out, your first instinct might be to panic or fumble around looking for a candle or flashlight. But in those initial moments, the most dangerous threats aren't necessarily outside. They're right there in your own home. A blackout creates an instant environment where familiar spaces become hazardous. Furniture you navigate around every day turns into an obstacle course in the dark. Cords, toys, loose rugs, and even open cabinet doors can suddenly cause trips and falls. And when you're moving without light, one misstep can lead to a serious injury, which becomes far more difficult to deal with when hospitals might also be impacted by the same outage. Another common hazard comes from people trying to improvise light or heat too quickly without thinking about safety. Candles are a prime example. They're cheap, easy to find, and seem harmless, but left unattended or placed near curtains, papers, or clothing, they can start a house fire in minutes. The danger compounds when people start using multiple candles in different rooms, forgetting about them as they move around. The same goes for kerosene lamps or portable heaters. Without ventilation and caution, they can cause both fires and carbon monoxide buildup, putting everyone at risk. In the first few minutes of a blackout, your mind might also be on your electronics, trying to keep your phone alive or restarting appliances. But that can pull your attention away from immediate physical hazards. A better first move is to pause, take a breath, and get your bearings. Make sure every member of your household knows where they are and is safe. If you have pets or small children, secure them quickly. They can easily knock over light sources or trip you in the dark. One of the smartest actions you can take immediately is to grab a reliable, hands-free light source such as a headlamp or lantern. This allows you to move safely without tying up your hands, reducing the risk of falls and freeing you to assist others. If you don't have one, even a flashlight held low near the ground can make trip hazards easier to spot. And as you move through your space, mentally note where hazards might be, sharp corners, steps, or unstable items that could fall if bumped. It's also wise to unplug sensitive electronics early. When the power comes back on, surges can damage or destroy devices. This is part of safety too, not just for the gear, but for you, because sparks or electrical fires can happen during unstable grid restarts. Ultimately, ignoring the immediate hazards in the opening moments of a blackout is like walking blindfolded through a minefield. Injuries, fires, and accidents happen fastest when people are still adjusting to the situation. If you prioritize situational awareness and safety first, you can prevent most of the early dangers and buy yourself time to handle the bigger challenges that follow. The first few minutes aren't just about coping with the dark. They're about making sure you're still in one piece when the real survival work begins. One of the most dangerous mistakes people make during a blackout is the misuse of backup power sources, especially generators. When the power fails, the instinct to restore electricity quickly is strong. People want their lights, refrigerators, and heaters running again, and a generator feels like an instant solution. But without proper knowledge and caution, a generator can go from lifesaver to silent killer in minutes. The most immediate risk is carbon monoxide poisoning. Generators burn fuel, and in doing so, they release carbon monoxide, a colorless, odorless gas that can accumulate rapidly and cause dizziness, unconsciousness, or even death. Many tragedies occur because people set up generators inside their homes, in garages, basements, or even just outside a window. Even with a door cracked open or a window partially raised, CO can seep indoors and build up to lethal levels without anyone noticing until it's too late. There's also the risk of electrical backfeeding. If someone connects a generator directly to their home's wiring without a proper transfer switch, it can send electricity back through power lines. This doesn't just endanger the person using the generator, it can kill utility workers who believe the lines are de-energized. It can also cause fires or damage appliances when the grid power returns. Unfortunately, during the chaos of a blackout, safety steps are often skipped in the rush to get power flowing again. People might use improvised connections, run too many devices at once, or fail to maintain the generator properly. Fuel storage and handling add yet another layer of danger. Storing gasoline improperly, especially near open flames, heaters, or smoking, can create an explosive hazard. Pouring fuel into a hot generator engine can cause flare-ups or burns. During extended outages, people sometimes run their generators continuously without allowing them to cool down, increasing wear and the risk of mechanical failure. The noise factor shouldn't be underestimated either. Generators are loud, and in a widespread blackout, that sound can act like a beacon to neighbors or even opportunistic criminals who might target homes that appear to have resources. A poorly placed generator can not only be unsafe, it can advertise to others that you have power, fuel, and possibly food that they don't. To avoid these risks, the key is preparation before the blackout hits. Generators should always be placed at least 20 feet from your home, with the exhaust pointing away from windows and doors. Installing a transfer switch is not optional. It's a critical safety device. Every home that uses a generator should also have a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector to catch dangerous levels before they become deadly. Fuel should be stored in approved containers in a well-ventilated area away from heat sources. And if possible, consider quieter, more discreet power options like solar battery systems for certain needs, so you're not broadcasting your advantage. In a blackout, a generator can be your best friend or your worst enemy. The difference lies entirely in how you use it, and whether you treat it as a tool that demands respect and caution rather than a quick fix. Another deadly mistake people make during a blackout is overlooking food and water safety. When the power goes out, the clock starts ticking on everything inside your refrigerator and freezer. Many assume that as long as the fridge door stays shut, their food is safe indefinitely, but that's far from true. A refrigerator without power typically keeps food safe for only about 4 hours, and a freezer can maintain safe temperatures for roughly 24 to 48 hours if unopened. Once the internal temperature rises above 40 degrees F 4 degrees C, bacteria begin multiplying rapidly, turning safe meals into breeding grounds for foodborne illnesses like Salmonella or E. coli. During a blackout, especially a prolonged one, many people take chances by eating food they think is still okay, trusting their eyes and nose rather than a food thermometer. The problem is that dangerous bacteria don't always change the smell, taste, or appearance of food. You might eat something that looks fine, but is already contaminated enough to cause severe illness, dehydration, and even hospitalization, which can be life-threatening in a situation where medical services are strained. Water safety is another major oversight. People often assume their tap water will remain safe during a power outage, but that's not always the case, especially if the blackout is caused by a natural disaster or impacts water treatment plants. Without power, pumping stations and purification systems can fail, letting contaminated water flow into your home. In rural areas, well pumps stop working entirely, leaving you without access to fresh water unless you have a manual pump or stored reserves. Even stored water can become unsafe if it's not kept in clean, sealed containers, or if it's stored in direct sunlight where algae or bacteria can grow. The danger escalates when people resort to unsafe water sources like rivers, ponds, or rain barrels without proper filtration or purification. Drinking untreated water can lead to serious gastrointestinal infections, which can quickly weaken your body, an especially dangerous outcome when hospitals may be overwhelmed or inaccessible. Preparedness is the best defense. Before an outage, it's wise to store at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for a minimum of 3 days, though 2 weeks is even better. Water should be stored in food-grade containers, kept in a cool, dark place, and rotated every 6 months. For food, having a supply of non-perishable items, such as canned goods, freeze, dried meals, and energy bars, ensures you can eat safely without relying on refrigeration. A manual can opener, water filters, and purification tablets should be part of every emergency kit. If a blackout catches you unprepared, prioritize consuming perishable foods first, starting with those in the refrigerator before moving to the freezer. Use a thermometer to monitor temperatures, and discard anything that has been above 40 degrees F for more than 2 hours. For water, boil it for at least 1 full minute longer at higher altitudes, or use a reliable purification method before drinking. In the chaos of a blackout, your survival can hinge on something as simple as knowing when food has gone bad or ensuring your water is clean. Overlooking these basics isn't just a mistake, it's an invitation to illness at the worst possible time. Another critical and often overlooked mistake during a blackout is the unsafe use of alternative light and heat sources. When the power goes out, darkness sets in quickly and temperatures, especially in winter, can plummet. Many people scramble for whatever light or heat they can find, but in doing so, they sometimes create hazards far more dangerous than the blackout itself. The most common dangers involve fire, carbon monoxide poisoning, and accidental injury caused by improper equipment use. Candles, for example, are a go-to option for many households. While they provide a warm and comforting glow, they are also one of the leading causes of house fires during outages. A single unattended candle can ignite curtains, paper, or furniture in minutes, especially in cramped spaces where people are moving around with limited visibility. Fires in blackout conditions spread faster and are harder to control because water pressure might be reduced. Emergency services could be delayed, and evacuation routes might be in total darkness. For heat, some people turn to indoor use of devices meant strictly for outdoor operation, like charcoal grills, camp stoves, or propane heaters without proper ventilation. These produce carbon monoxide, an odorless and deadly gas that can overwhelm and kill within minutes. Every year, blackouts lead to tragic headlines about families found unconscious in their homes because they tried to keep warm with unsafe heat sources. The danger is magnified in well-insulated homes where ventilation is minimal, and with windows and doors sealed against the cold, the gas has nowhere to go. Even battery-powered lanterns and flashlights can pose risks if not used properly. Old batteries can leak corrosive chemicals or even explode, especially if devices are left running continuously. Cheap, poorly made LED lights may overheat, and overloaded extension cords powering multiple devices from a generator can cause electrical fires. The issue isn't just the tools people use, it's the lack of preparation and knowledge in using them safely. Preparation is the antidote to these hazards. Every home should have a set of reliable, flameless lighting options such as LED lanterns, headlamps, and solar-powered lights, along with plenty of spare batteries. Rechargeable power banks and solar chargers can keep small electronics functional without relying on dangerous makeshift solutions. For heating, only use indurated propane or kerosene heaters and always ensure proper ventilation. A working carbon monoxide detector, battery-operated or with a backup power source, is an absolute necessity. If you must use candles, place them in sturdy, enclosed holders. Keep them on flat, stable surfaces and never leave them unattended. Keep matches and lighters in a waterproof container and out of reach of children. When using generators, place them at least 20 feet away from the home, never in garages or enclosed spaces, and always follow the manufacturer's safety instructions. In a blackout, staying warm and keeping the lights on is important, but doing so recklessly can turn an inconvenience into a deadly disaster. The right gear, coupled with the right knowledge, can mean the difference between surviving a blackout safely and creating an emergency far worse than the outage itself. Another dangerous mistake people make during a blackout is mishandling food and water supplies. When the power goes out, refrigerators and freezers stop running, and within hours, perishable food begins to warm to unsafe temperatures. Many people assume that food will last much longer than it actually does, leading to cases of food poisoning that can be severe or even life-threatening, especially when medical services might be delayed due to the outage. Without power, the danger zone for food between 40 degrees F and 140 degrees F can be reached surprisingly fast, allowing bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli to multiply rapidly. One common problem is opening the refrigerator or freezer too often, which accelerates the warming process. Each time the door is opened, cold air escapes and warm air enters, significantly shortening the safe storage window. In a well-stocked freezer, food might stay safe for up to 48 hours if left closed, but frequent access can cut that time in half or worse. In hot climates, perishable items like dairy, meat, and seafood can become unsafe within just a few hours. Water is another major concern. Many people take clean tap water for granted, but during a blackout, especially one caused by storms, flooding, or infrastructure damage, water supplies can become contaminated. Municipal pumps may fail, filtration systems might stop working, or pressure can drop, allowing pollutants to seep in. Those who continue drinking tap water without boiling or filtering it risk serious illnesses like giardia or cryptosporidiosis. Worse still, people often fail to store an adequate emergency water supply before the outage, leaving them scrambling to find safe drinking water in unsafe conditions. Preparedness in this area requires both planning and discipline. A simple rule of thumb is to store at least 1 gallon of water per person per day for a minimum of 3 days. More if you live in a hot climate or expect a prolonged outage. Store water in clean, food-grade containers in a cool, dark place and rotate it every 6 months to ensure freshness. For long-term safety, invest in water purification tablets, portable filters, or even a gravity-fed filtration system to make questionable water sources drinkable. For food, maintain an emergency pantry stocked with non-perishable items such as canned goods, dried fruits, nuts, pasta, rice, powdered milk, and ready-to-eat meals. Choose foods that don't require cooking or that can be prepared with minimal heat. Keep a manual can opener handy. Many people forget that electric ones won't work without power. Learn how to assess food safety. If it has an unusual odor, texture, or color, it's better to throw it out than risk illness. When a blackout hits, resist the temptation to use up perishable food first without checking if it's safe. Create a plan for consuming refrigerated and frozen items in order of vulnerability and supplement them with your shelf-stable reserves. By understanding how quickly food and water can become unsafe, and by taking steps to store and protect them properly, you can prevent one crisis, loss of power, from turning into another, a preventable health emergency. Finally, one of the deadliest mistakes people make during a blackout is ignoring security. When the lights go out, so do many of the systems that help keep neighborhoods safe: street lights, security cameras, alarm systems, and even some police communications. Criminals know this and may see a blackout as an opportunity to strike. Looting, break-ins, and opportunistic crimes often rise during extended outages, especially in densely populated areas or when civil order starts to break down. People who assume it won't happen here often find themselves unprepared for the reality that desperation or greed can drive people to act in ways they normally wouldn't. A common oversight is leaving homes visibly vulnerable. Unlocked doors, poorly secured windows, and valuables left in plain sight can make a property an easy target. Without exterior lighting, a home can become a tempting, shadowed opportunity for someone looking to steal food, fuel, or supplies. Another mistake is broadcasting your preparedness to others, either in person or on social media. If people know you have generators, stored food, and water when resources are scarce, you may attract unwanted attention from strangers or even acquaintances. Security isn't just about preventing theft, it's about deterring it. In a blackout, visibility is limited, so creating the impression that your home is still occupied and monitored can make a huge difference. Battery-powered motion lights, solar path lights, and even candles and windows can create a presence. Dogs can be an effective deterrent, as can neighborhood watch coordination where neighbors keep an eye on each other's homes. For those with generators, one often overlooked risk is noise. The sound of a running generator can carry far, signaling to anyone nearby that you have power and, most likely, valuable supplies. If possible, position the generator away from public view, use noise reducing enclosures, and run it only when necessary. The less attention you draw, the safer you are. During extended outages, it's also important to be cautious when moving around outside after dark. Without streetlights, visibility drops drastically, and shadows can conceal threats. Carry a reliable flashlight with extra batteries or a headlamp to keep your hands free. Avoid predictable routines like always going outside at the same time or following the same path. Security also means having the means to protect yourself if necessary. This could range from non-lethal options like pepper spray, whistles, and batons to legally owned firearms, depending on your comfort level and local laws. Just as important as having these tools is knowing how to use them responsibly and safely. Ultimately, the best defense in a blackout is a combination of preparation, discretion, and community. Secure your property, limit the information you share about your resources, and maintain communication with trusted neighbors. A blackout can strip away many of the safety nets we rely on daily, but by taking proactive steps to protect yourself and your household, you can avoid becoming a target when the lights are out and the rules seem to fade with them.